What if the life you've been living isn't the life you were meant for? This audiobook will guide you to uncover the inner shift that transforms your world. It's time to break free from limitations and create a life of purpose. Your true self is waiting. Let's begin. Introduction. Have you ever felt like there's something more to life, something you're missing, but you just can't seem to put your finger on it? Have you caught yourself wondering why you're not as fulfilled as you thought you'd be, even though you're working hard, following the rules, and ticking off all the boxes that society says you should? If so, you're not alone. Something profound is happening in the world right now. A shift is occurring, a call for change, a longing for authenticity. It's not just a passing trend. It's an awakening that many people are experiencing deep within their hearts. But what does it mean? And more importantly, how can you harness it to create the life you were always meant to live? This is where the inner shift comes in. It's not just a concept. It's a transformative force that can change the way you see yourself and your life. It's the shift from living on autopilot to living with intention, from being driven by fear and uncertainty to being guided by clarity and purpose. This book, The Inner Shift, Awaken the Life You Were Meant to Live, is your invitation to step into this change, to awaken to the truth of who you really are, and to live a life that is more aligned with your deepest desires. But why this book? And why now? In a world that is constantly changing, it's easy to get caught up in the noise, to lose sight of what truly matters, and to forget that you have the power to shape your own life. So many of us are conditioned to follow a prescribed path, to conform to societal expectations. But what if the life you've been living isn't truly yours? What if there's something more, something richer, more fulfilling, and uniquely yours waiting for you to discover it? The world is waking up. People everywhere are realizing that the old ways of living no longer serve them. And you too may be feeling the stirrings of this awakening within yourself. But how do you navigate this shift? How do you break free from old patterns and step into a life that is truly aligned with your soul's purpose? This book was written for you, the person who is ready to embark on that journey, who is ready to embrace the discomfort that comes with change and transformation. I wrote this book because I've been where you are. I felt stuck, lost, and disconnected from my true self. There was a time when I too was living out of sync with my deepest desires, following the prescribed path without questioning whether it was truly mine. But everything changed when I started to listen to the whispers of my heart, when I began to trust the pull towards something greater. One moment changed it all for me, a wake-up call that forced me to take a hard look at my life and ask myself some tough questions. I realized I was living a life that wasn't fully mine, and that realization set me on a path of transformation. It wasn't easy, and there were many obstacles along the way. But through that process, I discovered the power of the inner shift, the power to change not just my circumstances, but my very way of being. And now I'm here to share that journey with you, to guide you through your own inner transformation. What you'll learn in the pages ahead is not a set of quick fixes or temporary solutions. No, what you'll gain is far more powerful. The tools, the mindset, and the wisdom to make lasting change in your life. This book will help you rediscover your authentic self, break free from limiting patterns, and step into a life that is full of purpose, passion, and true fulfillment. What can you expect from this book? You can expect to have your mind expanded and your heart opened. You'll discover how to reconnect with your inner wisdom, how to heal past wounds, and how to embrace vulnerability as a path to personal power. You'll learn how to shift your mindset from one of scarcity and fear to one of abundance and possibility. And perhaps most importantly, you'll learn how to take practical steps every single day to align your life with your soul's deepest calling. But this is not a passive experience. The moment you commit to this journey, you are choosing to take an active role in your transformation. You'll be asked to reflect, to journal, to meditate, and to take intentional action. This book is not a spectator sport. It's a call to engage with your own inner world, to take responsibility for your life, and to show up as the person you are truly meant to be. So, if you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're ready to break free from the limitations that have been holding you back, if you're yearning for a life that is filled with purpose, joy, and alignment, then you are exactly where you need to be. The time for your transformation is now. This is your call to wake up, to embrace the inner shift that is waiting for you. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because that moment is right now. You are being called to awaken, and the life you were meant to live is waiting for you on the other side of this shift. Are you ready to step into it? Let's begin this journey together. Your transformation is just around the corner. Chapter 1: The Wake-Up Call. Understanding. Wake-up call. Life often moves at a relentless pace, filled with the noise of daily routines, obligations, and external expectations. We wake up, go through the motions, tick off the boxes, and repeat. But somewhere along the way, we may find ourselves disconnected from the very life we thought we were building. Have you ever felt like there's more to life than what you're currently experiencing? Have you sensed an inner stirring, a subtle, persistent feeling that something in your world isn't quite right? That, my friend, is your wake-up call. It's the moment when the noise of life fades and you're left standing face to face with an undeniable truth: that you've been living on autopilot. Your wake-up call is the moment when you feel the universe, or your higher self, urging you to take a step back and ask, is this all there is? This feeling is not something to fear or avoid. Instead, it's a doorway, an invitation to live with more awareness, purpose, and alignment. The wake-up call comes in many forms. It could manifest as a significant life event, perhaps a breakup, a health scare, or a loss that shakes you to your core. Alternatively, it may be quieter, more subtle, emerging as a lingering dissatisfaction or a growing sense that you're not living authentically. Whether it's the jarring clarity of a major life event or the quiet voice urging you to reconsider your current path, the wake-up call is an invitation to reconnect with your true self and start living the life you were always meant to lead. For many, these wake-up moments are often dismissed or ignored at first. It's easy to brush aside feelings of discomfort, of disconnection, and just continue down the path we've been following. But here's the truth. Ignoring the wake-up call doesn't make it go away. In fact, it only grows louder. The longer you wait to listen, the more insistent it becomes. That nagging feeling, the restlessness in your chest, the dissatisfaction you experience in moments of stillness, these are the whispers of your soul urging you to make a change, to align more fully with your purpose. So, how do we move from the moment of realization to the actual shift? That's what we're going to explore in this chapter. What causes an inner shift? An inner shift is not something that happens overnight. It's a gradual process of awareness, awakening, and ultimately, transformation. But what exactly causes this inner shift to occur? While every person's journey is unique, there are common catalysts that push us toward change. The most significant cause of an inner shift is a growing awareness of the disparity between who we are and who we are meant to be. The problem is that most of us go through life without ever pausing to consider whether we are truly living in alignment with our deepest desires and values. For years, we may follow prescribed paths, go to school, get a job, settle down, make money, but at some point, we begin to realize that these external markers of success don't bring us true fulfillment. Perhaps it starts with a fleeting thought. Is this it? Is this all there is to life? Or maybe it's a deeper, more persistent dissatisfaction that begins to settle in, a feeling of emptiness that no external accomplishment can fill. It might be a physical symptom, like chronic stress or health issues, that forces you to pay attention to your body and ask yourself what you're really living for. It could even be the feeling of waking up in the morning and not being excited to face the day. The moment we realize that we've been living out of alignment with our true selves is the moment an inner shift is set into motion. So, what causes these shifts? For some, it's a life-changing event that demands change, perhaps a loss or a major transition in life. For others, it's a gradual accumulation of discontent that leads to the realization that something has to change. No matter the catalyst, the inner shift is ultimately the result of a heightened awareness of the gap between where we are and where we could be. It's the recognition that there's more to life than the constant hustle and grind. And while this awareness can be unsettling at first, it's also profoundly liberating. It opens up the possibility of living authentically, of creating a life that feels meaningful and true to who you are at your core. Early signs that it's time for change. Recognizing when it's time for change can be a challenge, especially when we've spent years ignoring the subtle signs that our inner world is calling us to shift. Often, the early signs of change are quiet whispers, easy to overlook or dismiss as simply feeling off. These whispers manifest in a variety of ways. You might feel restless or unfulfilled, despite seemingly having everything you need on paper. Maybe you've noticed a growing sense of dissatisfaction in your relationships, career, or even in your own skin. The early signs can also manifest as physical symptoms, fatigue, insomnia, or even chronic stress that signal that something deeper is misaligned. Have you ever experienced a day when you just felt disconnected from everything around you? Maybe you looked at the life you were building and thought, "Is this it?" Or perhaps there have been moments when you felt that deep, gnawing sense that something was missing, yet you couldn't quite put your finger on what it was. These are early signs of the need for change. They are the gentle nudges that invite you to look inward and reconsider your choices. It's easy to ignore these signs, especially when we are conditioned to keep pushing through discomfort. But the reality is that these signs are often the first indicators that it's time for a deeper transformation. What I want you to know is this: these early signs are not something to fear. They are not an indication that you've made a mistake or that you are failing. In fact, these early signs are opportunities. They are invitations from your higher self to reconsider your current path, to realign with your purpose, and to take action that leads to greater fulfillment. When you start noticing these signs, whether it's dissatisfaction with your current situation, physical discomfort, or a general sense of feeling stuck, take a moment to pause. Rather than brushing them off or trying to power through, lean into them. Ask yourself what they are trying to tell you. Are they signaling a need for a shift in your career, your relationships, your self-care practices? By tuning into these signs early on, you can begin the process of realigning with your true self before the call becomes too loud to ignore. Reflection. Exercise. Recognizing your personal wake-up moment. Now, let's take a moment to reflect. Grab a journal or find a quiet space where you can truly listen to your inner voice. I want you to reflect on the moments in your life when you've felt that nagging sense of discontent, when you've questioned your current path. These are often the first signs that a wake-up call is on its way. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and think about the times when you felt the most disconnected from your true self. Maybe it was during a difficult period in your life, or maybe it was in the middle of a successful phase when you suddenly realized something wasn't quite right. Ask yourself, when was the last time I felt truly at peace with my choices? When did I feel most aligned with my purpose? What were the signs that something needed to change? Was it a sudden realization, or did it build over time? As you reflect, try not to judge the feelings that arise. They are not a reflection of failure, but rather a reflection of growth, of your soul calling you toward a more fulfilling path. In these moments of reflection, Try to identify any common themes or patterns in your life. Have you been following a path that was shaped by others' expectations? Or have you been pursuing goals that were never truly your own? Recognizing these patterns is the first step in making an intentional shift. And remember, it's okay if these answers don't come immediately. Give yourself the space to sit with these questions, knowing that your wake-up moment is unique to you. Trust that, in time, the clarity will come. Chapter 2. The Life You Were Meant to Live. Exploring the potential within. Have you ever wondered if there's more to life than what you're experiencing right now? Have you felt that deep yearning for something greater? Something that feels more in alignment with who you truly are? That yearning is the voice of your potential calling out to you, reminding you that you have gifts, abilities, and dreams within you that are waiting to be expressed. It's easy to get caught up in the routine of life, in the expectations and pressures from society, family, or even our own minds. But underneath all of that, there is a deeper truth. You are here for a reason. There is a unique purpose that only you can fulfill, a life that is waiting for you to awaken to its fullest expression. The key to unlocking this potential lies in understanding that you are not a passive observer in your own life. You are the creator, the artist of your experience. Imagine for a moment that your life is like a blank canvas. Every thought, every belief, and every action you take is a brushstroke on that canvas. If you've been living unconsciously, the strokes may have been haphazard or influenced by external forces. But when you begin to live consciously, you start to take the brush in your hand and paint your life with intention. This shift, from living by default to living by design, is the first step towards stepping into the life you were meant to live. The good news is that you have the power to make that shift at any time. It all starts with a decision, the decision to listen to your inner voice and take action in alignment with your highest potential. Living consciously means embracing the reality that you are a dynamic being, full of untapped potential. It means no longer accepting mediocrity or a life that feels good enough, when deep down, you know that something greater is possible. As you begin this journey, you will uncover aspects of yourself that you may have overlooked or suppressed. Your talents, strengths, and passions are all part of the fabric that makes you unique. There is no one else like you in the entire world, and that is something truly extraordinary. The potential within you is vast and limitless, and as you begin to uncover it, you will find that the life you were meant to live is one that is filled with purpose, joy, and fulfillment. The process of exploring this potential requires courage. It demands that you step outside your comfort zone, question old beliefs, and be willing to grow into the person you were always meant to be. What does it mean to truly live your life's purpose? Living your life's purpose is about more than just achieving external success or checking items off a to-do list. It's about aligning your daily actions with your deepest values, your passions, and your soul's calling. Have you ever asked yourself, what am I really here to do? This question, although simple, can be profound in its ability to guide you to the core of your purpose. Your life's purpose is not something you need to find externally. It is something that lives within you, waiting to be uncovered. It's the reason you feel pulled towards certain things, the dreams that have always lingered in your heart, and the unique ways in which you express yourself in the world. Many people spend their lives seeking purpose in external achievements, career success, financial gain, or social recognition, only to discover that these things, while important, don't fulfill the deeper need for meaning. True purpose is not defined by how others see you or what you accumulate. It's defined by how you feel when you're connected to your inner truth. When you are living in alignment with your purpose, life feels effortless, like you're in the flow of something much bigger than yourself. It doesn't mean that challenges won't arise or that everything will be easy, but there's a deep sense of satisfaction and peace that comes from knowing you are on the right path. To begin living your life's purpose, you first need to reconnect with yourself. You need to tune out the noise of the world and listen to what your heart is telling you. What do you love to do? What excites you? What makes you feel truly alive? These are the keys to understanding your purpose. Your purpose is not just about what you do. It's about who you become in the process. It's about living authentically and unapologetically, embracing your true self and sharing your unique gifts with the world. This may require you to let go of old identities, beliefs, and habits that no longer serve you. But as you release what's no longer aligned with your truth, you will create space for your purpose to emerge more clearly. The journey to living your purpose is one of self-discovery, self-acceptance, and deep inner transformation. The contrast between living unconsciously and consciously. There's a stark difference between living unconsciously and living consciously. When you live unconsciously, you're simply going through the motions. You wake up, do what you need to do, and get through your day without truly engaging with it. You might find yourself reacting to life rather than creating it. Living unconsciously means living out of habit without thought or intention. It's easy to get caught in this cycle. In fact, many people spend years, even decades, living in this state, reacting to external circumstances, following the path laid out by others, and rarely pausing to ask themselves if they're truly living the life they want. But when you choose to live consciously, everything changes. Living consciously means waking up to your life. It means becoming aware of the thoughts, beliefs, and actions that shape your reality. It means making deliberate choices rather than letting life happen to you. Living consciously requires you to step out of autopilot mode and take full responsibility for your experience. It's about being present in every moment, tuning into your inner wisdom, and taking action that is aligned with your highest good. When you live consciously, you no longer let fear, doubt, or societal conditioning dictate your choices. Instead, you act from a place of awareness and intention, guided by your inner compass. This shift from unconscious living to conscious living is where transformation begins. You begin to notice patterns in your behavior, in your thoughts, and in the way you approach challenges. You realize that you have the power to change the course of your life simply by choosing to live with awareness. This doesn't mean you'll have all the answers right away, or that every decision will be easy. In fact, conscious living often requires stepping into the unknown and trusting in yourself. But it's also the most empowering way to live. When you live consciously, you are no longer a passive observer of your life. You are the creator. You take full ownership of your choices, your actions, and your path. And as you begin to live with more awareness, you'll find that the life you were meant to live starts to unfold before you in beautiful, unexpected ways. This chapter focuses on understanding the life you were meant to live, aligning with your inner truth, and making the shift from unconscious to conscious living. It emphasizes the importance of connecting with your potential, uncovering your purpose, and living intentionally. Chapter 3. Breaking free from old patterns. The subconscious. Patterns that keep you stuck. Have you ever noticed yourself getting caught in the same cycle over and over again? Maybe it's a pattern of self-doubt, procrastination, or even fear that holds you back from making decisions. Perhaps you're trapped in a loop of unfulfilling relationships or career choices, feeling as though you're walking through life on autopilot. These repeating patterns, which we often don't even realize are there, are deeply rooted in our subconscious mind. They are the invisible forces that shape our reality, guiding us down paths that may not align with our true desires. Yet, while these patterns may have once served a purpose, helping you cope with certain situations or protecting you from perceived threats, they no longer serve you. In fact, they may be actively keeping you stuck, preventing you from stepping into the life you were meant to live. Our subconscious mind holds on to these patterns as a way to maintain a sense of safety and security. They're learned behaviors, reactions, and beliefs that were formed based on past experiences, often from childhood or significant events in our lives. These subconscious patterns can show up in a variety of ways. You may find yourself repeating mistakes in relationships, sabotaging your own success, or feeling like you're incapable of achieving your goals. What's worse is that because these patterns are subconscious, they operate beneath the surface, and you're not always aware of them. This is why it can feel like you're trying to break free, but something unseen is pulling you back. But here's the good news. Once you bring these patterns to the surface and bring awareness to them, they lose their power over you. You can choose to rewrite your story, to step out of the cycle, and to consciously break free from these old patterns. The first step is acknowledging their presence and their influence on your life. Breaking free from these patterns is not an overnight process, and it requires patience and self-compassion. The key here is not to blame yourself for falling into these patterns or for allowing them to persist for so long. Instead, acknowledge them as an opportunity for growth. Recognizing that these patterns have been a defense mechanism or a coping strategy is an important step in releasing their grip. It's essential to be kind to yourself as you work to reprogram these ingrained behaviors. Through consistent awareness and conscious effort, you can begin to undo the damage these old patterns have caused and create space for healthier, more empowering habits to emerge. But first, you need to be willing to confront them head-on, to shine a light on the places where you've been hiding, and to make the decision to break free. How to identify and break free from limiting behaviors. Identifying the limiting behaviors that hold you back is the first step toward breaking free from them. These behaviors often show up as self-sabotage or unconscious decisions that ultimately hinder your progress. It could be a fear of success, where you unknowingly block your own achievements because you don't believe you deserve them. It might manifest as procrastination, putting off important tasks because of a deep-rooted belief that you're not capable. Or perhaps it's the tendency to say yes to everything, even when it drains your energy, because you fear letting others down. These behaviors are rooted in beliefs about who you are, what you deserve, and what you're capable of achieving. And to break free from them, you need to shine a light on these beliefs and challenge them. One of the most powerful ways to identify limiting behaviors is through mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you become more aware of your thoughts, emotions, and actions in the present moment. It's about observing without judgment, noticing when certain patterns arise, and asking yourself why you behave the way you do. For instance, if you find yourself procrastinating on something important, instead of criticizing yourself, ask, what am I afraid of here? What belief am I holding on to that's keeping me from moving forward? This simple question can unlock insights into the root cause of the behavior. It could be a fear of failure, a belief that you're not good enough, or even the fear of being judged by others. Once you've identified the limiting belief behind the behavior, it's time to challenge it. Ask yourself, is this belief really true? Who says I can't achieve this goal? Is it possible that I'm more capable than I've been giving myself credit for? These questions open the door to the possibility of change. You are not your limiting beliefs. You are the observer of them. By consciously recognizing these behaviors and questioning their validity, you give yourself the power to choose a different path. It's about recognizing that you are not defined by your past mistakes or by the subconscious patterns that have guided you thus far. You have the ability to break free from these behaviors and create a new reality, one that is aligned with the life you want to live. Mindfulness and awareness as tools for change. Mindfulness is a tool that not only helps you become more aware of limiting patterns, but also serves as a foundation for lasting change. When we are mindful, we are fully present in the moment, free from distractions and judgment. This presence allows us to observe our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with greater clarity, which, in turn, helps us understand the deeper motivations behind our actions. The beauty of mindfulness is that it doesn't require perfection. It's not about eliminating all negative thoughts or feelings, but about becoming aware of them without allowing them to control us. It's about observing without attachment, acknowledging what's there, and then choosing how to respond. A powerful mindfulness practice that can help break free from limiting patterns is the practice of observing your thoughts and labeling them. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough to achieve this," you can simply acknowledge that thought by labeling it. That's a limiting thought. By giving the thought a name, you create some distance between yourself and the thought. This makes it easier to let go of the belief and choose a more empowering thought. You can replace it with something like, "I am fully capable of achieving my goals, and I am learning and growing along the way." With practice, you will find that the grip of limiting thoughts begins to loosen. Another essential mindfulness practice for breaking free from old patterns is to cultivate self-compassion. Often, we can be our own harshest critics. We judge ourselves for the mistakes we've made, for the times we've fallen into old patterns, or for the behaviors we don't like. But self-compassion involves treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a close friend. When you practice self-compassion, you allow yourself the space to make mistakes, to be imperfect, and to learn from the experiences. This compassionate mindset helps to shift the internal dialogue from one of self-criticism to one of self-empowerment. You begin to realize that breaking free from old patterns isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Each small step you take toward mindfulness and awareness is a victory, and over time, these small victories will accumulate into lasting change. Chapter 4. Healing the Past. How past experiences shape the present. Our past experiences are like a tapestry woven into the fabric of who we are. Every moment of our lives, especially those that have been deeply emotional, has contributed to the way we see ourselves, the world, and the people around us. Whether these experiences were moments of joy or pain, love or loss, they have left their mark. Some experiences are empowering, strengthening our belief in ourselves and the world, but others, especially those rooted in trauma, rejection, or neglect, can leave scars that we may not even be fully aware of. These unhealed wounds often continue to shape our behavior, thoughts, and emotional responses long after the event itself has passed. The difficulty lies not in the event itself, but in how we internalize and react to it. When we experience something painful, especially as children, we form conclusions or beliefs based on those experiences. For example, if we were rejected or abandoned by someone we loved, we might form a belief that we are not worthy of love. Or if we failed at something important, we may decide that we are incapable of succeeding. These beliefs become ingrained in our subconscious and start to govern how we interact with the world. They dictate the relationships we choose, the goals we set or avoid, and how we view ourselves. As time goes on, these beliefs become so deeply embedded that we no longer question them, even though they may no longer serve us. They can keep us trapped in patterns of fear, self-doubt, and avoidance. The key to healing is recognizing how these past experiences shape our present. Once we become aware of the connections between our past and our current behaviors, thoughts, and feelings, we can begin to untangle the knots that bind us. The process of healing doesn't mean forgetting or erasing the past, but rather understanding its impact and choosing to release its hold over us. Healing the past involves learning to see our experiences through a lens of compassion and understanding, acknowledging the hurt without allowing it to define us. When we understand how the past influences our present, we can begin to reclaim the power we have lost and take steps toward emotional freedom. The importance of forgiveness and letting go. Forgiveness is often one of the most challenging, yet most transformative aspects of healing. We've all been hurt by others, and sometimes those hurts can feel so deep, so personal, that the idea of forgiveness seems impossible. But what we often fail to realize is that forgiveness is not about excusing the actions of others or pretending that the hurt never happened. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, a way of releasing the emotional charge tied to past events. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional burden of resentment, anger, and regret, which can weigh heavily on your heart and mind. Holding on to these negative emotions might feel like a way of protecting yourself, but in reality, it only keeps you stuck in the past. When we forgive, we are not condoning the hurtful actions or saying that they didn't matter. Instead, we are choosing to release the emotional attachment we've placed on them. It's a way of saying, "This hurt does not have control over me anymore." Letting go of anger, bitterness, or resentment may seem difficult at first, but in doing so, we free up emotional energy that can be used to heal and move forward. The process of forgiveness allows us to reclaim our inner peace and emotional balance. It's an act of self-liberation, one that has the power to transform not only our own lives, but also our relationships with others. Forgiveness, in this sense, is not about the other person. It's about you. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of the past so that you can live fully in the present. Forgiveness isn't always a linear process. It may take time, and it may require revisiting the wounds again and again, but each time you return to it with the intention of healing, you take one step closer to freedom. It's important to be patient and gentle with yourself during this process. You may also find that forgiving doesn't always mean reconciling with the person who hurt you. Sometimes, forgiveness is about releasing the emotional burden, even if the relationship remains distant. This is particularly important when dealing with past traumas or betrayals, where reconciliation may not be possible or healthy. The act of forgiveness is a deeply personal choice, and you have the power to decide when you are ready to take that step. Steps to heal emotional wounds and reset healing. Emotional wounds isn't something that can be done overnight. It's a gradual process, one that requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to face the painful parts of ourselves. The first step in healing is acknowledging the wound. Whether it's a small hurt or a deep unresolved trauma, the first step is recognizing that it exists. This means being honest with yourself about what you've experienced without minimizing the pain or pretending it doesn't matter. Many people try to bury their pain, thinking it will go away on its own. But unaddressed emotional wounds don't heal by themselves. They often fester, growing bigger and more complex the longer they are ignored. Once you acknowledge the pain, the next step is to allow yourself to feel it. This may sound counterintuitive, especially when we've been taught to avoid discomfort, but it's essential to give yourself permission to feel the emotions associated with the wound. Whether it's grief, anger, sadness, or fear, allowing yourself to feel these emotions without judgment is a crucial part of the healing process. It's important to remember that emotions are not bad or wrong. They are simply messages from your body and mind telling you what needs attention. By embracing and processing these emotions, you allow yourself to release them, rather than letting them linger and influence your thoughts and behaviors unconsciously. After you've allowed yourself to feel, it's time to take steps toward letting go. This is where forgiveness comes into play. But even if you're not yet ready to forgive, you can begin by simply deciding that you no longer want to carry the weight of the past with you. One powerful practice for this is to write a letter to the person or situation that caused you pain. You don't have to send the letter, but the act of writing it helps you process the emotions and release the attachment. You can also use guided meditations or affirmations to help you release the energy attached to the wound. Over time, as you repeat these practices, you'll find that the emotional charge around the wound diminishes, and you feel lighter and more at peace. The final step in resetting emotional wounds is integrating the healing into your life. This means making a conscious choice to create new beliefs, new ways of seeing the world, and new ways of being in the world. It's about deciding that your past doesn't define you and that you are worthy of a life filled with love, joy, and success. Rewriting your story requires not just healing the wounds, but creating a new narrative, one where you are no longer a victim of the past, but an empowered, resilient person. Moving forward, this new story is one that aligns with your authentic self, your purpose, and your potential. And as you continue to heal, you'll find that the emotional scars become less and less prominent until one day you realize that you are no longer carrying them with you. Chapter 5. Embracing Vulnerability, the Power of Vulnerability and Transformation. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness in our society. We are taught from an early age to put up walls, to protect ourselves from potential hurt or rejection. We create facades of strength, hiding behind masks that tell the world we have it all together. But the truth is, the very thing we fear the most, vulnerability, holds the key to our deepest growth and transformation. Vulnerability is not about weakness. It's about courage. It's the willingness to show up as our authentic selves, unprotected and exposed, despite the fear of judgment or failure. It's the willingness to take emotional risks in the pursuit of meaningful connection, personal growth, and self-expression. When we embrace vulnerability, we allow ourselves to be seen for who we truly are, flaws, imperfections, and all. This can be incredibly liberating, but it also requires a deep level of trust, both in ourselves and in others. It requires the courage to step into the unknown, to let go of the need for control, and to release the fear of being hurt. And while this may sound terrifying at first, it's in this very act of showing up, raw and authentic, that transformation begins. Vulnerability is the gateway to deeper connection, not only with others, but with ourselves. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open ourselves to the possibility of true intimacy, love, and acceptance. We no longer have to pretend to be something we're not. We can simply be who we are, knowing that we are enough just as we are. In this space, healing and growth can occur. For many of us, embracing vulnerability requires a shift in mindset. We must challenge the belief that vulnerability is a sign of weakness. Instead, we must see it as a powerful tool for personal evolution. It's through vulnerability that we gain the strength to face our fears, to heal our wounds, and to pursue the life we were meant to live. In fact, vulnerability is often the starting point for true transformation. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we make space for authenticity and self-expression to flow freely. We begin to shed the layers of armor we've built over the years, revealing the true essence of who we are. And in doing so, we find not only personal healing, but also the strength to create meaningful connections and build a life that feels true to who we are on the inside. How vulnerability connects you to your true self. When we think of vulnerability, we often associate it with emotional exposure and potential pain. However, vulnerability is also the key to discovering our truest selves. For many of us, we spend our lives in search of external validation, looking for approval from others, trying to fit in, and conforming to societal expectations. In doing so, we disconnect from our authentic selves, burying our true desires, values, and dreams beneath the weight of other people's opinions. But when we embrace vulnerability, we give ourselves permission to shed those layers of external influence and reconnect with who we really are. Vulnerability allows us to access our inner wisdom, our intuition, and our deepest desires. It encourages us to listen to our heart's true calling and to pursue the path that feels authentic, rather than what we think we should do. When we stop hiding behind the masks we've created for protection, we can finally hear our own voice, loud and clear. And that voice, which has been there all along, is often the key to our truest, most fulfilling life. By embracing vulnerability, we begin to trust ourselves, to honor our own needs, and to live in alignment with our values and passions. This connection to our true selves also opens the door to self-acceptance. So often, we hold ourselves back from fully expressing who we are because we fear rejection or judgment. We may suppress parts of ourselves that we deem unworthy or imperfect. But vulnerability teaches us that our imperfections are not flaws. They are what make us unique. When we embrace our vulnerability, we begin to accept ourselves fully, our strengths, our weaknesses, and everything in between. This self-acceptance is the foundation of personal growth and transformation. It allows us to show up in the world as our true, authentic selves, without the fear of being judged or criticized. And it is in this space of acceptance that we can finally begin to live the life we were always meant to live. Overcoming fear of judgment and rejection. One of the greatest barriers to embracing vulnerability is the fear of judgment and rejection. We all have experienced the sting of criticism or the pain of being excluded at some point in our lives, whether it was as children, when we were learning to navigate the world, or as adults, when we took risks and faced failure. The fear of being judged or rejected can hold us back from fully embracing our true selves. The desire to fit in, to be accepted, and to avoid rejection is a deeply ingrained part of the human experience. And while these feelings are natural, they can also keep us stuck in a cycle of fear and self-doubt. Overcoming this fear begins with understanding that judgment and rejection are inevitable parts of life. No matter how hard we try, we can never control how others perceive us. And while it's natural to want approval and validation from others, it's essential to recognize that our worth is not dependent on external validation. When we let go of the need for approval, we free ourselves from the shackles of judgment and rejection. This doesn't mean that we stop caring about others or their opinions, but it means that we stop allowing their judgment to define us. One way to overcome this fear is to practice self-compassion. When we show ourselves kindness and understanding, especially in moments of vulnerability, we begin to develop a stronger sense of self-worth. We learn to embrace our imperfections and accept ourselves as we are, without the need for external approval. Another way to combat fear is through exposure. The more we practice being vulnerable, the less power judgment and rejection hold over us. As we put ourselves out there, we begin to see that the fear of rejection is often much worse than the reality. Most people are too focused on their own lives to judge us as harshly as we fear. And when rejection does occur, it is rarely as personal as we believe. Through repetition, we begin to realize that we are capable of handling rejection, and that it doesn't define us or diminish our worth. In time, embracing vulnerability becomes an empowering practice, one that strengthens our resilience and deepens our connection to ourselves and others. We learn that vulnerability is not a weakness to be feared, but a strength to be celebrated. It is the gateway to authenticity, self-acceptance, and meaningful connection. When we embrace vulnerability, we step into our true power, allowing ourselves to live the life we were meant to live, one that is real, raw, and deeply fulfilling. Chapter 6: Awakening the Power Within Understanding. Your personal power. When we talk about personal power, we are not referring to power over others or control over external circumstances. Personal power is the ability to tap into your own inner strength, wisdom, and resources in a way that allows you to live your most authentic and empowered life. It is the deep-seated understanding that you are capable, worthy, and deserving of success, love, and all the blessings that life has to offer. Personal power resides within each of us. It is an inherent part of being human. But for many, it remains dormant, hidden beneath layers of self-doubt, fear, and societal conditioning. We often seek power outside of ourselves, through accomplishments, approval from others, or material wealth, believing that these things will give us the strength and fulfillment we desire. However, true power comes from within. It is the quiet, yet unshakable knowing that you have the capacity to shape your own reality, make empowered choices, and face challenges with resilience. Understanding your personal power begins with realizing that it is already inside of you. It is not something you need to acquire or chase after. It is something you need to recognize and cultivate. Personal power is the alignment of your inner thoughts, feelings, and actions with your true self. It is living in congruence with your values, desires, and purpose, without being swayed by external pressures or opinions. When you are in tune with your personal power, you become a magnet for positive energy, attracting opportunities, people, and experiences that support your growth and well-being. The first step in awakening your personal power is simply acknowledging that it exists within you. From there, you can begin to nurture it, feed it, and allow it to guide you on your journey. But personal power is not a static state. It is something that requires constant nurturing. It is a lifelong practice of self-awareness, self-compassion, and self-mastery. It is about understanding your strengths and weaknesses, embracing both, and using them as tools for growth. When you take ownership of your personal power, you stop waiting for external validation and begin to trust yourself. You realize that you are your own greatest resource and that the power to change your life lies in your hands. Awakening your personal power is a process of letting go of limiting beliefs, past conditioning, and fears, and stepping into a version of yourself that is bold, confident, and unapologetically authentic. The relationship between self-worth and inner strength. One of the most crucial aspects of awakening your personal power is understanding the intimate connection between self-worth and inner strength. Self-worth is the foundation upon which your personal power is built. If you do not believe in your own value, you will struggle to tap into your full potential. Our sense of self-worth is shaped by many factors: our upbringing, experiences, and the messages we receive from others. Often, these influences cause us to undervalue ourselves, leading to feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and a lack of confidence. When we do not recognize our own worth, we allow others to define our value, and we may settle for less than we deserve in relationships, careers, and life in general. The relationship between self-worth and inner strength is cyclical. When we feel worthy, we are more likely to trust ourselves, make empowered decisions, and take bold action toward our goals. Conversely, when we lack self-worth, we hold ourselves back, sabotaging our own success. Strengthening your sense of self-worth is, therefore, a key component of awakening your inner power. This process begins with self-compassion. Being kind to yourself, especially during moments of failure or difficulty, allows you to see your intrinsic value. You are not defined by your mistakes, setbacks, or imperfections. These are simply experiences that offer opportunities for learning and growth. Another vital aspect of self-worth is learning to accept and celebrate who you are, rather than constantly striving for approval or perfection. Many of us are conditioned to seek validation from external sources, whether it's from parents, partners, colleagues, or social media. While external validation can feel good in the moment, it is fleeting and unreliable. True self-worth comes from within, and it is sustained by self-acceptance. When you learn to appreciate yourself fully, without the need for external affirmation, your sense of inner strength becomes unshakable. You begin to trust in your abilities and believe in your right to live a fulfilling, abundant life. Self-worth is not something you need to earn. It is inherent in your being. The more you recognize this truth, the more powerful you become, both internally and externally. How to tap into your inner wisdom. Tapping into your inner wisdom is one of the most transformative practices you can undertake on your journey to awakening your personal power. Your inner wisdom is the voice of your higher self, the part of you that knows exactly what you need, where you need to go, and how you can get there. It is the source of your intuition, the quiet guidance that leads you to make decisions that are in alignment with your true purpose. Unfortunately, many of us are disconnected from this inner wisdom. We often override our intuitive feelings with logic, external advice, and societal expectations, believing that we know what's best for us based on what others have told us. But your inner wisdom is always there, quietly guiding you, waiting for you to tune in and listen. The first step in tapping into your inner wisdom is to cultivate stillness and silence in your life. In the chaos of everyday life, it is easy to become disconnected from our intuition. Our minds are constantly busy, bombarded by distractions, and focused on the demands of work, relationships, and external obligations. To hear your inner wisdom, you must create space for it to be heard. This can be done through practices such as meditation, journaling, or simply spending time alone in nature. When you quiet the noise of the outside world, you begin to hear the subtle whispers of your inner guidance. These whispers may come as gut feelings, a sense of knowing, or a feeling of peace in certain situations. Once you begin to connect with your inner wisdom, the next step is to trust it. Trusting your intuition can be challenging, especially if you have been conditioned to prioritize logic and reason. But your inner wisdom is often more reliable than your rational mind. It is deeply connected to your subconscious mind, which holds all of your past experiences, knowledge, and insights. When you trust your intuition, you are tapping into a vast reservoir of knowledge and wisdom that has been accumulated over a lifetime. It is the ultimate guide on your journey to self-discovery and empowerment. As you continue to tap into your inner wisdom, you will find that your decisions become clearer, more aligned with your true desires, and more confident. You will begin to make choices that reflect your authentic self, rather than seeking external approval or following the crowd. And as you continue to trust your inner wisdom, you will notice that life becomes easier. You will feel more aligned with your purpose, and your personal power will grow stronger. Trusting your inner wisdom is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong practice that deepens with time and experience. The more you listen to your inner guidance, the more you will awaken the full power within you. Chapter 7. Redefining Success. The shift in what success truly means. For most of our lives, we are taught a narrow definition of success. It's measured by external markers: high-paying jobs, social status, material possessions, and public recognition. These societal measures of success are often driven by comparison, competition, and the need for validation from others. But what happens when you achieve these external markers and still feel unfulfilled? What happens when you've succeeded according to society's standards, but you find yourself disconnected from your true self? The truth is, success is not a one-size-fits-all concept. It's a deeply personal and evolving experience that should reflect your values, passions, and sense of purpose. Redefining success is about freeing yourself from the constraints of societal expectations and crafting a definition that resonates with your authentic self. Success isn't just about climbing the corporate ladder or acquiring wealth. It's about living a life that aligns with your soul's deepest desires. It's about finding joy in the journey, not just the destination. When you redefine success, you step away from the pressure of comparison and begin to measure success by the fulfillment you experience, the impact you have on others, and the alignment between your actions and your core values. This new definition of success is expansive and inclusive, not confined to a set of rigid external achievements, but based on the richness and depth of the life you create for yourself. To redefine success, start by asking yourself some deep questions. What truly makes me happy? What do I want my life to stand for? What values do I want to honor in my day-to-day actions? Success becomes more than just an outcome. It's about the process and the choices you make along the way. It's about waking up each day with a sense of purpose, knowing that your work, your relationships, and your pursuits are in harmony with your true self. Success, in this context, becomes a fluid and evolving journey, not a fixed point on the horizon. It's not about arriving at some external goal, but rather about the ongoing evolution of who you are becoming. The beauty of this new definition of success is that it is entirely in your hands. It is up to you to decide what success looks like for you, not based on what the world tells you, but based on what your heart knows is true. Breaking free from societal definitions of success. From a young age, we are inundated with societal definitions of success. We are told that we should go to school, get a good job, buy a house, and accumulate wealth and possessions. These societal norms create a blueprint for what a successful life looks like, and for many, it becomes the standard by which they measure their worth. But when we follow this blueprint blindly, we risk losing sight of what truly matters to us. We may find ourselves achieving these external markers of success, only to realize that they don't bring us the fulfillment we expected. In fact, they may even leave us feeling more empty and disconnected from ourselves than ever before. Breaking free from societal definitions of success requires a willingness to question and challenge the status quo. It involves looking inward and asking yourself, is this truly what I want? Or is this what I've been told I should want? It requires an understanding that success is not a one-size-fits-all concept, and that the path to fulfillment is unique to each individual. To break free from these societal definitions, you must cultivate the courage to carve your own path. This may mean stepping away from the expectations of family, friends, or colleagues, and choosing a path that feels true to your soul. It might involve making decisions that feel uncomfortable or unconventional, but that are deeply aligned with your values and passions. It also requires an awareness that the pursuit of external validation will never bring lasting fulfillment. Society often equates success with achievement and accumulation, but true fulfillment comes from living authentically and in alignment with your inner truth. When you let go of the need for approval from others, you reclaim your power and begin to live a life that is uniquely yours. Breaking free from societal definitions of success is about tuning in to your own desires and values, rather than constantly comparing yourself to others. It's about understanding that your worth is not defined by external accomplishments, but by who you are and the way you show up in the world. When you begin to live for yourself, success takes on a whole new meaning. It becomes about living in harmony with your true self, rather than striving for something that doesn't resonate with your soul. Living in alignment with your own values and dreams. Living in alignment with your values and dreams is the ultimate expression of personal success. When your actions, thoughts, and decisions are in harmony with your deepest beliefs and desires, life becomes more meaningful and fulfilling. But living in alignment requires clarity, self-awareness, and the courage to make choices that reflect your authentic self. It's about identifying what truly matters to you and designing your life around those priorities, rather than being swayed by external pressures or fleeting desires. The first step in living in alignment is identifying your core values. What do you stand for? What principles guide your life? These values may include things like honesty, kindness, adventure, creativity, or family. Once you have a clear understanding of your values, you can begin to make decisions that honor them. For example, if family is a core value for you, you might choose a career that allows you to spend more time with loved ones, even if it means sacrificing a higher paycheck or status. If creativity is important to you, you might prioritize artistic expression over conventional success in a traditional job. When you make choices based on your values, you begin to live a life that is true to who you are, and success becomes a natural byproduct of that alignment. Living in alignment with your values also means having the courage to pursue your dreams, even if they seem unconventional or risky. So often we are taught to play it safe, to follow the prescribed path, and to avoid failure. But true fulfillment comes from following the call of your heart even when it feels uncertain. It requires a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone and take bold, inspired action toward your dreams. Living in alignment with your dreams means trusting in your own abilities, even when the road ahead is unclear. It's about having faith in yourself and knowing that, no matter the outcome, you are on the right path. When you live in alignment with your values and dreams, your sense of success transcends external achievements. Success becomes a state of being, a way of living that reflects your authenticity, passion, and purpose. It's no longer about checking off boxes on a to-do list or impressing others with your accomplishments. It's about living with intention, integrity, and joy. This is the true meaning of success. The kind of success that brings lasting fulfillment, inner peace, and a deep sense of satisfaction. When you align your life with your values and dreams, you create a life that feels meaningful and authentic, and that is the most powerful success of all. Chapter 8. Shifting your mindset. The role of mindset in transformation. When we embark on a journey of personal transformation, one of the most powerful forces at play is our mindset. Mindset is the lens through which we view the world, ourselves, and our potential. It influences how we react to challenges, perceive opportunities, and navigate through life's uncertainties. In many ways, our mindset shapes our reality, how we approach goals, handle setbacks, and relate to others. If we have a fixed or limiting mindset, we may feel stuck, as if our circumstances control us. But if we cultivate a growth-oriented mindset, we begin to see challenges as opportunities for learning and growth, rather than as insurmountable obstacles. A growth mindset is the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed over time. It's rooted in the understanding that we are not limited by our current skills or knowledge, but that with effort, perseverance, and a willingness to learn, we can grow and evolve in any area of life. When we adopt a growth mindset, we stop viewing failures as defeats and start seeing them as stepping stones on the path to success. We learn to embrace mistakes as opportunities for growth, rather than as evidence of our inadequacy. This shift in perspective is crucial because it allows us to approach life with curiosity, resilience, and an open heart. Instead of being paralyzed by fear of failure, we become empowered to take bold actions, knowing that each step, even the missteps, brings us closer to the person we are meant to become. On the other hand, a fixed mindset limits our potential. When we believe that our abilities are static and unchangeable, we can become afraid of failure and resistant to change. We may avoid challenges because we fear that they will reveal our inadequacy, and we may become overly focused on proving ourselves rather than growing and evolving. This mindset can keep us trapped in patterns of stagnation, as we may settle for what is comfortable rather than pursuing our true potential. The good news, however, is that a fixed mindset is not permanent. It can be shifted. By consciously choosing to embrace a growth mindset, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and allow ourselves the freedom to explore, experiment, and expand our horizons. The role of mindset in transformation is critical because it lays the foundation for all other changes that follow. Our thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes shape the actions we take and the outcomes we achieve. Therefore, if we want to change our lives, we must begin by shifting the way we think. This means challenging old beliefs that no longer serve us and replacing them with empowering, growth-oriented thoughts that propel us forward. The more we align our mindset with our goals, the more likely we are to succeed, because we will approach challenges with the confidence and resilience needed to overcome them. It all starts with changing the way we think. How to cultivate a growth-oriented mindset. Cultivating a growth-oriented mindset requires deliberate effort and a willingness to change our habitual thought patterns. The first step is to recognize that we have the power to change our mindset at any time. Just like any other skill, mindset can be developed and strengthened with practice. One of the most effective ways to shift toward a growth mindset is by reframing our thoughts about failure Instead of seeing failure as a reflection of our inadequacy, we can choose to see it as a necessary part of the learning process. Every failure is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and try again with a new perspective. When we adopt this mindset, we stop being afraid of failure and instead embrace it as an essential part of our growth. Another powerful tool for cultivating a growth mindset is practicing self-compassion. Often, when we face setbacks or make mistakes, we are quick to judge ourselves harshly. We may call ourselves failures or think that we are not good enough. This self-criticism can create a barrier to growth, as it prevents us from seeing our mistakes as opportunities for learning. Instead of berating ourselves, we can practice treating ourselves with kindness and understanding. Just as we would support a friend who was going through a difficult time, we can extend the same compassion to ourselves. Self-compassion allows us to bounce back more quickly from setbacks, as we can view challenges through a lens of understanding and resilience rather than shame and guilt. A key aspect of cultivating a growth mindset is also the willingness to embrace challenges. Many people avoid challenges because they are afraid of failure or discomfort, but challenges are essential for growth. When we push ourselves out of our comfort zones, we are forced to develop new skills and perspectives. It's through challenge that we build resilience, increase our capacity for problem solving, and expand our potential. So instead of avoiding difficult situations, we can choose to see them as opportunities to stretch ourselves and grow. The more we embrace challenges, the more we develop the mental flexibility and resourcefulness needed to navigate life's uncertainties. Finally, it's important to surround ourselves with people who encourage and support our growth. The people we associate with have a powerful influence on our mindset. When we spend time with others who have a growth mindset, we are more likely to adopt similar attitudes and beliefs. Positive influences can help us stay motivated, inspired, and focused on our goals, especially during times of difficulty. On the other hand, spending time with people who have a fixed mindset can reinforce limiting beliefs and undermine our confidence. Therefore, it's important to build a supportive community that encourages our personal development and challenges us to think differently. Practical tools for shifting limiting thoughts. Shifting limiting thoughts requires consistent effort and a variety of practical tools that can help us rewire our thinking. One of the most effective tools is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the ability to be present in the moment, fully aware of our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. When we practice mindfulness, we become more aware of our thought patterns and can identify when we are thinking negatively or limiting ourselves. This awareness is the first step in shifting our mindset. Once we recognize limiting thoughts, we can choose to replace them with more empowering, positive ones. Another powerful tool for shifting limiting thoughts is affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that we repeat to ourselves to reprogram our subconscious mind. By consistently affirming positive beliefs, we can replace negative, self-limiting thoughts with empowering ones. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," we can affirm, "I am capable and I have everything I need to succeed." Repeating affirmations regularly helps us shift our mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance, from one of self-doubt to one of self-belief. Over time, these positive affirmations begin to shape our reality as we internalize the belief that we are worthy, capable, and powerful. Visualization is another tool that can help shift limiting thoughts. Visualization involves imagining ourselves achieving our goals, living the life we desire, and experiencing the success and fulfillment we seek. By vividly imagining our desired outcome, we create a mental blueprint that our subconscious mind can work toward. Visualization helps us align our thoughts, emotions, and actions with our goals, reinforcing the belief that we are capable of achieving what we envision. The more we visualize our success, the more likely we are to take the necessary actions to bring it to life. It's a simple yet powerful way to reprogram our mind for success. Lastly, journaling is an effective tool for shifting limiting thoughts. Writing down our thoughts allows us to process our emotions and gain clarity about our beliefs. Through journaling, we can identify patterns of negative thinking and work through them with intention. We can also use journaling to track our progress, celebrate our successes, and reinforce positive beliefs. It's a therapeutic practice that helps us reflect on our journey, learn from our experiences, and stay focused on our goals. Chapter 9. Transforming Fear into Courage, Understanding. Fear as a natural part of growth. Fear is a deeply ingrained and natural human response. It is part of our biology, designed to protect us from harm, and it has kept us safe throughout history. However, when fear arises in response to personal growth or stepping out of our comfort zone, it can become a barrier rather than a protector. Fear is not always a signal that danger is present. Often, it is simply a reaction to the unknown. When we face something new or unfamiliar, whether it's starting a new career, speaking in front of others, or making a big life change, fear can emerge as a protective mechanism that tells us to stay in the safety of what we know. Yet, this type of fear, the fear of the unknown, can prevent us from taking risks and pursuing the life we truly desire. While fear is a natural emotion, it does not have to control us. In fact, fear can be transformed into one of our most powerful allies when we understand it and learn how to manage it. Fear, when acknowledged and faced, often loses its grip on us. By understanding the source of our fear and realizing that it's simply a reaction to change, we can shift our perspective and reframe our relationship with it. Fear, in this sense, becomes a signpost on the road to growth, a signal that we are moving beyond our comfort zone and into new territory. In this light, fear can become a catalyst for courage, pushing us to take action in the face of uncertainty. The key is to change our mindset about fear, seeing it not as an obstacle, but as a stepping stone that signifies progress. The first step in transforming fear into courage is recognizing that fear is universal. Everyone experiences fear. Even the most successful and accomplished individuals have moments of doubt, anxiety, and fear. What separates those who thrive from those who remain stagnant is how they respond to fear. Some people allow fear to paralyze them, while others choose to confront it head-on, embracing it as part of their journey. The latter group sees fear not as an enemy, but as a messenger that brings awareness and growth. Therefore, it's essential to recognize that fear is not something to avoid or suppress, but something to be acknowledged, understood, and integrated into our lives as part of the natural process of transformation. How to transform fear into a catalyst for courage. One of the most powerful ways to transform fear into courage is by taking action, even in the presence of fear. It may sound counterintuitive, but the more we wait for fear to dissipate, the longer it holds us back. Action is the antidote to fear. When we take small, manageable steps toward our goals, we build confidence and demonstrate to ourselves that we are capable, even in the face of uncertainty. This gradual exposure to fear helps desensitize it, making it less intimidating over time. The first step may feel daunting, but once we take that initial leap, we realize that the fear was often worse in our minds than it ever was in reality. Another important strategy is to break down our fears into manageable pieces. Often, fear arises because we see a goal or challenge as an insurmountable mountain, too big and too overwhelming to tackle. However, when we break that mountain down into smaller, more achievable steps, it becomes much less intimidating. By focusing on the next small step, we shift our focus away from the overwhelming nature of the whole and begin to build momentum toward progress. Each small step forward, no matter how minor it may seem, is a victory. These incremental victories add up and gradually transform fear into confidence, helping us to move forward in a steady and controlled manner. In addition to taking action and breaking down our fears, It's also important to reframe the way we view fear itself. Instead of seeing fear as something to be avoided, we can learn to view it as a tool for growth. Fear often accompanies situations where we are stretching beyond our current capabilities or beliefs. In these moments, fear can be seen as a sign that we are doing something meaningful and that we are on the path to transformation. By embracing fear as an opportunity for growth, we take the power away from it. Instead of shrinking back, we can move forward with the understanding that fear is not a roadblock, but a part of the process that helps us expand, evolve, and build the courage to move past our perceived limitations. The power of taking small, bold steps. One of the most effective ways to conquer fear and transform it into courage is by taking small, bold steps toward our goals. These steps don't need to be monumental. They just need to be steps that move us in the direction of our dreams. By consistently taking action, even when fear is present, we send a message to our subconscious mind that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. It's not the size of the step that matters, but the commitment to moving forward despite the fear. Each step, no matter how small, chips away at the wall of fear, allowing us to build confidence and momentum. A key element of taking bold steps is embracing discomfort. When we do something that makes us nervous or anxious, we are stepping outside of our comfort zone, and this can be uncomfortable. However, growth only occurs when we push ourselves beyond the familiar. The more we lean into discomfort, the more resilient and courageous we become. It's important to understand that discomfort is not a sign of failure or weakness, but a signal that we are expanding and growing. Each time we step outside of our comfort zone, we build emotional resilience and develop the inner strength necessary to face future challenges. It's also important to recognize that bold steps don't have to be giant leaps. A bold step could be as simple as speaking up in a meeting, reaching out to someone you admire, or taking the first step toward a long-term goal. It's the act of moving forward, even in the presence of fear, that creates lasting change. The key is consistency. By taking bold, small steps regularly, we build confidence, reduce fear, and eventually cultivate the courage to take larger risks. Over time, these small steps will accumulate, and what once seemed impossible will become an achievable reality. The power of small, bold steps lies in their ability to build momentum. Once we begin taking action, fear starts to lose its grip on us. The more we act, the more confident we become, and the more we realize that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. With each step, we build a new identity, one that is not controlled by fear, but empowered by courage. Over time, these steps lead to significant transformations, allowing us to achieve goals that once seemed out of reach. Chapter 10. Cultivating Self-Love, the Foundation of All Inner Shifts. Self-love. Self-love is not a luxury or an indulgence. It is a necessity, the bedrock on which all positive change rests. It is easy to believe that in order to be successful or worthy of love, we need to do something extraordinary or become someone we're not. We look for approval from others, thinking that their recognition will somehow complete us. But this external validation can never truly satisfy the deep desire within us for acceptance, especially self-acceptance. The real transformation begins when we shift our focus inward and embrace the truth that we are enough, just as we are. Self-love is the most important relationship you'll ever have. It is the source from which all other relationships, experiences, and transformations in your life will stem. Without it, you'll always find yourself seeking validation outside yourself, trying to fill a hole that only self-love can fill. It's only when we fully embrace ourselves, imperfections and all, that we begin to unlock the true potential that resides within us. When we talk about cultivating self-love, we're not referring to a superficial sense of self-esteem or ego-driven vanity. True self-love is an unwavering belief in your own worth and value, regardless of your circumstances, mistakes, or the judgments of others. It's the deep, quiet understanding that you are deserving of all the good things life has to offer, simply because you exist. It's about treating yourself with the same compassion and kindness that you would offer a dear friend. It's about being gentle with yourself, especially during moments of failure or challenge, instead of falling into the trap of self-criticism or guilt. Self-love is not an end goal, but a continuous practice, one that requires daily attention, nurturing, and commitment. When you cultivate self-love, you create an internal foundation of security and self-worth that cannot be shaken by external forces. This internal security provides the strength to face challenges, take risks, and step into the life you were meant to live. Self-love is also an act of self-respect. It is the understanding that you are worthy of your own time, energy, and care. Too often, we prioritize others' needs and desires over our own, neglecting ourselves in the process. We give away our time, attention, and resources to the point of exhaustion, thinking that we must always be there for others. However, true self-love is about setting boundaries that protect your emotional and physical well-being. It's about learning to say no when something doesn't serve you and saying yes to the things that nurture your soul. By honoring yourself in this way, you send a powerful message to the universe that you respect and value who you are. When you practice self-love, you teach others how to treat you, setting the standard for how you wish to be treated in all your relationships. How self-love impacts every aspect of life. Self-love is the key that unlocks every other area of your life. When you love and accept yourself fully, you begin to see the world around you through a lens of abundance and possibility. You no longer see yourself as lacking or unworthy, but as a deserving individual who is capable of achieving great things. This shift in perspective alters the way you approach challenges and opportunities. With self-love, you approach life with confidence because you know that your worth is not dependent on external success, wealth, or the approval of others. Your value is inherent, and it is enough. The way you treat yourself directly influences how others treat you. When you cultivate self-love, you set the tone for your relationships, both with others and with yourself. People will begin to treat you with the same respect and kindness that you show yourself. This is why self-love is so important. It creates a ripple effect that spreads throughout your life. It strengthens your personal relationships, enhances your professional endeavors, and improves your emotional and mental health. When you love yourself, you become a magnet for positive energy. You attract people who uplift and support you, and you find yourself in environments that nurture your growth and well-being. Furthermore, self-love impacts your physical health and wellness. When you love yourself, you take care of your body, mind, and spirit. You prioritize your physical well-being by eating nourishing foods, exercising regularly, and getting enough rest. You listen to your body's needs and respond with compassion, rather than pushing yourself to the brink of exhaustion. Self-love encourages you to engage in activities that restore and rejuvenate your energy, whether it's practicing yoga, meditating, spending time in nature, or simply taking a break to relax. By caring for yourself in this way, you create a strong, vibrant foundation for all your endeavors. Self-love allows you to thrive in all aspects of life because it promotes balance, well-being, and alignment with your true self. Practices to enhance self-love and acceptance. Cultivating self-love is a practice, and like any practice, it requires commitment, patience, and consistency. The first step is to be gentle with yourself. You don't need to fix yourself or be perfect in any way to be deserving of love. Simply acknowledge that you are worthy right now in this moment, exactly as you are. Start by practicing self-compassion. When you make a mistake or fall short of your expectations, treat yourself with kindness instead of judgment. Speak to yourself in a way that you would speak to a dear friend who is going through a tough time. Acknowledge your imperfections and embrace them with understanding, knowing that growth comes through mistakes and challenges, not through perfection. One powerful practice to enhance self-love is gratitude. Each day, take a moment to reflect on the things you appreciate about yourself. Write them down in a journal or simply say them aloud. You might begin by acknowledging the simple things: your kindness, your intelligence, your creativity. As you focus on your positive attributes, you begin to build a deeper sense of appreciation for who you are. This practice shifts your mindset from scarcity and self-criticism to abundance and self-acceptance. Gratitude for yourself encourages self-love and strengthens your connection to your own worth. The more you practice self-gratitude, the more you realize that you are enough, just as you are. Another practice is self-care. Self-love and self-care go hand in hand. It's about making time for yourself, engaging in activities that bring you joy and relaxation, and setting boundaries that protect your emotional and mental well-being. Self-care can take many forms. It might involve pampering yourself with a bath, taking a walk in nature, reading a book, or simply taking a nap when you're tired. It's important to remember that self-care is not selfish. It's essential for your health and well-being. When you make self-care a priority, you are honoring your own needs and reinforcing the belief that you deserve love and care. Finally, affirmations can be a powerful tool for cultivating self-love. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself to help rewire your subconscious mind and shift your beliefs. Start each day by affirming your worth and beauty. Say to yourself, "I am enough. I am worthy of love and respect. I deserve happiness and success." As you repeat these affirmations, you begin to reprogram your mind to believe them. Over time, these affirmations will become deeply ingrained in your consciousness, and you will begin to see the world and yourself through the lens of love and acceptance. Chapter 11. Aligning your actions with your vision. The importance of aligning action with intention. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where your actions and your desires seemed out of sync? You may have set an intention to transform your life, but when it came to taking action, something felt misaligned. It's a common experience, and the root cause often lies in a disconnect between our internal vision and the steps we take to bring that vision to life. Intentions are powerful. They set the stage for the life we want to create, but it's the actions we take that shape our reality. Without conscious alignment between your actions and your intentions, the gap between where you are and where you want to be can feel vast, frustrating, and discouraging. The key to bridging that gap is aligning your daily actions with your highest vision. If you've ever set a goal only to find that the path you're taking doesn't seem to lead you closer to your dream, you're not alone. Many people struggle with this mismatch. Perhaps you intend to lead a healthy lifestyle, but your choices don't reflect that intention. You find yourself eating foods that don't nourish you or skipping workouts. Or maybe you have the desire to create a career that reflects your passion, but you're stuck in a job that feels draining and uninspiring. This happens because our actions often reflect subconscious patterns or societal expectations, rather than our authentic desires. The first step in realigning is to become conscious of where there's misalignment and to take deliberate action that aligns with your deeper goals. When you begin to align your actions with your intention, you start to take purposeful steps toward your vision. Your decisions become more intentional, and your energy is focused on actions that will bring you closer to your goals. This doesn't mean that everything will be easy or that obstacles won't arise, but it does mean that you are living with more purpose and clarity. When your actions are aligned with your vision, the path to success becomes clearer and more rewarding. You start to feel a sense of fulfillment, not just when you reach your destination, but with every step you take in that direction. The journey itself becomes part of the reward. Alignment doesn't just lead to success. It transforms the way you experience life. How to create daily habits that support your vision. The road to alignment isn't a single giant leap. It's a series of small, consistent steps. One of the most powerful tools for creating alignment is cultivating daily habits that support your vision. Habits are the building blocks of our lives, and the actions we take each day ultimately determine the trajectory of our future. If you want to live a life that aligns with your purpose, it's essential to create habits that support that vision. Small, intentional habits, when practiced consistently, will bring you closer to the person you aspire to be and the life you want to create. Start by identifying the key actions that will support your vision. For example, if your vision is to live a healthier life, your daily habits might include preparing nutritious meals, getting regular exercise, and practicing mindfulness. If your vision is to build a successful career, doing work that lights you up, your habits might involve setting aside time each day to work on your passion projects, learning new skills, and networking with like-minded individuals. The key here is consistency. By committing to these habits, you start to create a structure that makes it easier to take the right actions, even when motivation wanes. The beauty of habits is that they don't rely on constant willpower. When they're ingrained into your routine, they become second nature. This allows you to continue moving forward even when your energy or enthusiasm fluctuates. In addition to consistency, it's important to be mindful of the way you approach your habits. Aligning your actions with your vision isn't just about what you do. It's about the intention behind your actions. For example, if you're working on your health, your goal shouldn't simply be to exercise because it's what you should do. Instead, it's about cultivating a love for movement and self-care. The energy you bring to your actions is just as important as the actions themselves. When you engage in habits with intention and mindfulness, you infuse them with positive energy that propels you forward. Ask yourself, are the habits I'm cultivating bringing me closer to the person I want to become? Are they in alignment with my vision for my life? If the answer is yes, then you are on the right track. Practical tips for staying aligned in the face of challenges. Life is full of challenges, and the road to alignment is no exception. At times, you may feel overwhelmed, distracted, or even unsure if your efforts are paying off. It's in these moments of challenge that staying aligned becomes even more important. Alignment isn't about avoiding difficulties. It's about staying true to your vision, even when things get tough. The most successful individuals aren't the ones who never face obstacles, but rather the ones who persist despite them, staying connected to their vision and purpose. When challenges arise, the first step is to acknowledge them without letting them derail you. It's natural to feel frustrated or disheartened when things aren't going according to plan, but it's important not to let those feelings dictate your actions. Instead, remind yourself of your why. Why did you set this vision in the first place? What is the deeper purpose behind your actions? Reconnecting with your purpose will reignite your motivation and help you stay focused on the bigger picture. Another important strategy for staying aligned in the face of challenges is flexibility. Life doesn't always unfold the way we expect, and sometimes our plans need to be adjusted. This doesn't mean giving up on your vision. It means being open to adjusting your approach while staying true to your core values. For example, if you're working toward a health goal and face a setback, such as an injury or a period of illness, instead of getting discouraged, consider what you can do within your current circumstances to maintain your alignment. You may need to shift your habits temporarily, but that doesn't mean abandoning your vision altogether. Flexibility allows you to keep moving forward even when circumstances change. Lastly, self-compassion is crucial when staying aligned during challenges. It's easy to become frustrated with yourself when things don't go as planned, but beating yourself up only adds to the resistance. Practice kindness toward yourself when things aren't going smoothly. Understand that setbacks are a natural part of the process, and every step you take, whether forward or backward, is part of your growth. By being compassionate and patient with yourself, you create the emotional resilience needed to stay aligned with your vision through the ups and downs of life. Creating a daily action plan, aligned with your purpose. To take alignment from theory into practice, you need a clear plan. A daily action plan that supports your vision and keeps you on track. This plan doesn't need to be rigid or overly detailed, but it should include specific actions that align with your goals and values. Start by breaking down your larger vision into smaller, actionable steps. For example, if your vision is to launch a business, your action plan might include tasks like researching your market, developing a product or service, and reaching out to potential clients. These tasks should be broken down into manageable bite-sized steps that can be accomplished on a daily or weekly basis. Next, prioritize your daily actions. It's easy to become overwhelmed by the many things you could be doing, but focusing on the most important actions will help you stay aligned with your purpose. Choose 1 or 2 key actions to focus on each day and commit to completing them. This doesn't mean that other tasks aren't important, but by focusing on the most impactful actions, you ensure that your energy is directed toward the areas that will bring you closer to your vision. Remember, it's not about doing everything. It's about doing what matters most. Finally, track your progress and reflect on your actions. At the end of each week, take a moment to review your progress. Are your actions aligned with your vision? If not, what can you adjust? Tracking your progress allows you to stay accountable and make necessary adjustments along the way. It also provides an opportunity to celebrate your wins, no matter how small they may seem. Reflecting on your journey helps you stay connected to your purpose and reminds you of how far you've come. Chapter 12. Finding peace in the present moment, the power of mindfulness, and living in the now. In today's fast-paced world, it's incredibly easy to get swept up in the whirlwind of responsibilities, deadlines, and future-oriented thinking. We are often preoccupied with what's next, whether it's an upcoming project at work, a family obligation, or a personal goal we're striving to achieve. The constant pressure to keep moving forward and accomplish more can create a feeling of disconnection from the present moment. We become so consumed with the past or the future that we forget to fully experience the now. This disconnection can lead to stress, anxiety, and a general sense of dissatisfaction with life. Mindfulness, the practice of being fully present and aware of the current moment, offers a powerful antidote to this. It is the art of intentionally directing your attention to the here and now without judgment. When you cultivate mindfulness, you begin to slow down and notice the richness of each moment, the subtle sights, sounds, and sensations that are often overlooked in our busy lives. It's not about trying to change anything or achieving some state of perfection, but rather about accepting and appreciating the present as it is. Living in the present moment doesn't mean you ignore the future or abandon your long-term goals. It means that you stop worrying about what might happen and instead focus on what's happening right now. This shift in focus allows you to experience life with more clarity, contentment, and peace. When you stop overthinking and become fully engaged in the present moment, you open yourself up to the joy and beauty that already exists around you. You start to notice the small moments of wonder, the sound of birds chirping outside your window, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the laughter of a loved one, or even the satisfaction of a well-done task. Mindfulness allows you to reconnect with life as it unfolds, without the weight of expectations and worries about what comes next. The beauty of mindfulness is that it's not reserved for specific moments of stillness or meditation. It can be practiced anytime, anywhere. Whether you're washing the dishes, driving, or having a conversation, you can choose to bring your full attention to the present moment. Over time, as you practice mindfulness, you will notice that your life becomes richer, more vibrant, and less overwhelming. You begin to feel a sense of peace that comes from knowing that, in this very moment, you are enough, and everything is exactly as it should be. Letting go of overthinking and worrying about the future. One of the greatest obstacles to living in the present moment is overthinking. We often find ourselves trapped in a cycle of negative thought patterns, where we replay past events or imagine worst-case scenarios in the future. This constant stream of thoughts can create a sense of anxiety and restlessness that prevents us from being fully present. Overthinking also robs us of our ability to make clear, grounded decisions as we become overwhelmed by the sheer volume of potential outcomes. The key to breaking this cycle is learning to recognize when you are overthinking and gently redirecting your attention back to the present. The mind is naturally inclined to think, plan, and analyze. It's part of being human. But when our thoughts spiral out of control, they become a source of stress rather than a helpful tool. To counteract overthinking, it's important to practice grounding techniques that bring your focus back to the present moment. One simple technique is to engage your senses. When you feel yourself starting to drift into the realm of overthinking, pause for a moment and notice what's happening around you. What can you hear? What can you see? What textures or smells are present? Engaging your senses helps to anchor you in the here and now, interrupting the flow of thoughts and bringing you back to reality. You can also try the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Identify 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This simple exercise is a powerful way to ground yourself and break the cycle of overthinking. Another strategy for letting go of overthinking is practicing self-compassion. Often, we overthink because we are afraid of making mistakes or not living up to our own expectations. We worry about the future because we feel a need to control the outcome. However, much of life is out of our control, and the more we try to force an outcome, the more anxiety we create for ourselves. Instead, try to approach your thoughts with kindness and patience. When you catch yourself spiraling into worry, acknowledge the thought without judgment. You might say to yourself, "I notice that I'm worrying about the future, and that's okay. I am going to focus on what I can control right now." This gentle acceptance of your thoughts reduces their power over you, allowing you to regain a sense of calm and clarity. How to create a peaceful, centered life. Creating a peaceful, centered life begins with cultivating inner calm and balance. Peace doesn't come from external circumstances. It comes from within. While external events and situations may trigger feelings of stress or discomfort, your ability to respond to these situations with calmness and equanimity determines your sense of inner peace. The more you cultivate peace within, the more you will experience it in all aspects of your life. One of the most effective ways to create inner peace is through meditation. Meditation is a practice that allows you to quiet the mind and reconnect with your inner stillness. It doesn't require any special skills or equipment, just a quiet space and a few minutes of your time. You can start with a simple breathing meditation where you focus your attention on the breath, observing the rise and fall of the chest with each inhale and exhale. As thoughts arise, gently bring your focus back to the breath without judgment. Over time, meditation helps you develop greater awareness of your thoughts and emotions, allowing you to create space between stimulus and response. This space is where peace resides. It's the space where you can choose to respond with calmness rather than react impulsively or with stress. 20. In addition to meditation, there are other practices that support a peaceful life, such as yoga, journaling, and spending time in nature. Each of these practices allows you to connect with yourself on a deeper level, cultivating a sense of presence and mindfulness. Yoga, for example, encourages you to tune into your body and breath, helping you release physical tension and mental clutter. Journaling allows you to process your thoughts and emotions, helping you gain clarity and insight. Spending time in nature connects you to the natural rhythms of life, providing a sense of grounding and renewal. Creating a peaceful life also requires setting boundaries and learning to say no. In our busy world, it's easy to get caught up in other people's demands and expectations. However, constantly saying yes to things that don't align with your values or purpose can lead to burnout and stress. It's essential to recognize when you need to say no in order to protect your energy and maintain your peace. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. It's about honoring your own needs and prioritizing your well-being. By saying no to what drains you and yes to what nourishes you, you create space for peace to flourish. Finally, don't forget the importance of rest. In our productivity-driven society, rest is often seen as a luxury rather than a necessity. However, rest is essential for mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Taking time to rest allows you to recharge, reflect, and reconnect with yourself. It also helps you release stress and create a sense of balance in your life. Rest is not a sign of weakness. It is a powerful tool for maintaining peace and staying centered. In this chapter, we've explored the power of mindfulness and living in the present moment. We've discussed how letting go of overthinking and worrying about the future can help you reconnect with the peace that is always available to you. And we've outlined practical steps you can take to create a peaceful, centered life, including meditation, setting boundaries, and honoring rest. By embracing the present moment and cultivating inner peace, you can transform your life from the inside out, experiencing greater joy, clarity, and fulfillment with each passing day. Chapter 13. Creating Abundance from Within. The mindset and practices that attract abundance. Abundance is often misunderstood as something that exists outside of ourselves, something we must acquire or attain through external sources. We might think that abundance is synonymous with wealth, material possessions, or status, and that the key to attracting abundance lies in accumulating these things. However, the true essence of abundance is far more profound. It's not about what we have, but how we perceive what we already possess. When we embrace a mindset of abundance, we stop focusing on what we lack and instead begin to recognize the infinite possibilities that are available to us, both within and around us. At its core, abundance is a state of mind, a perspective that believes there is always enough to go around, that life is abundant, and that we are worthy of receiving all the good things that life has to offer. To cultivate this mindset, we must first shift from a scarcity-based outlook to one of abundance. Scarcity is rooted in the belief that resources are limited, that there's not enough success, love, or opportunities for everyone, and that we must compete for what's available. This mindset often leads to fear, anxiety, and feelings of inadequacy. On the other hand, an abundance mindset is built on the understanding that the universe is full of limitless opportunities and that the more we give, the more we receive. To shift into an abundance mindset, start by acknowledging the blessings you already have. Take time each day to express gratitude for the people, experiences, and resources in your life. Gratitude has a powerful way of shifting our focus from what's missing to what's already here. The more you focus on what you have, the more you'll begin to see and experience the abundance that surrounds you. As you shift your focus, you'll find that opportunities begin to flow more freely, relationships deepen, and a sense of peace and contentment emerges from within. This isn't about denying challenges or difficulties. It's about choosing to focus on the positive aspects of your life and recognizing that even in challenging times, abundance is still present in various forms. Additionally, there are practical practices that can help cultivate an abundance mindset. One of the most effective is visualization. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing the life you desire. See yourself living abundantly, experiencing financial freedom, joy, and fulfillment. The act of visualizing helps train your mind to recognize opportunities for growth and success that you might otherwise overlook. When you see yourself in a state of abundance, you begin to attract the energy and opportunities necessary to make that vision a reality. This process reinforces the idea that abundance is not only possible, but it is already on its way to you. Breaking free from scarcity and lack mentality. The scarcity mindset is deeply ingrained in many of us, often due to the societal conditioning that teaches us to focus on limitations rather than possibilities. From an early age, we are taught to compete for resources, to fear loss, and to believe that there isn't enough to go around. This belief system can lead to feelings of anxiety and stress, as we constantly worry about not having enough, whether it's money, time, love, or opportunities. We may even find ourselves comparing our lives to others, believing that their success diminishes our own potential. Breaking free from the scarcity mindset requires conscious effort and a willingness to shift our beliefs about what is possible. The first step is to acknowledge and challenge the limiting beliefs that have been holding us back. These beliefs might sound like, "There's never enough," "I don't deserve abundance," or "I'm not good enough to succeed." Once you identify these thoughts, you can begin to replace them with affirmations and new beliefs that align with an abundance mindset. For example, instead of thinking, "There's never enough money," you can shift to, "Money flows to me easily and effortlessly." Instead of feeling jealous of others' success, you can affirm, "I celebrate the success of others, knowing that there is more than enough for everyone." Another powerful tool for breaking free from scarcity is practicing generosity. It may seem counterintuitive, but giving is one of the quickest ways to shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. When you give freely, whether it's your time, resources, or love, you are sending a message to the universe that you believe in abundance. Giving not only helps others, but it also reinforces the belief that there is more than enough for everyone. This can be as simple as helping a friend in need, donating to a cause that resonates with you, or even sharing a smile with a stranger. The act of giving shifts your focus away from lack and reinforces the belief that there is an abundance of goodness in the world, just waiting to be shared. As you begin to adopt a mindset of abundance, you'll notice that your fears around lack start to diminish. You'll no longer feel as though you're constantly in competition with others for success or resources. Instead, you'll feel empowered to pursue your dreams, knowing that there is enough for everyone. This shift in mindset will not only attract more opportunities into your life, but it will also improve your relationships, enhance your sense of self-worth, and deepen your overall sense of fulfillment. How to manifest abundance in all areas of life. Manifestation is the process of bringing your desires into reality by aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with what you want to create. When it comes to abundance, manifestation isn't just about visualizing material wealth. It's about cultivating a mindset and energy that attracts all forms of abundance into your life, including love, joy, success, health, and fulfillment. The first step in manifesting abundance is clarifying what you truly desire. Often, we find ourselves chasing goals and dreams that aren't aligned with our authentic selves, simply because we've been conditioned to pursue what society deems as successful. To manifest true abundance, you must get clear on what truly matters to you, what lights you up, what brings you joy, and what aligns with your values. This clarity will guide you on the path toward abundance, ensuring that the things you manifest are in harmony with your deeper purpose. Once you've identified your desires, it's important to align your energy with them. This means cultivating positive thoughts and emotions that match the energy of abundance. If you desire financial abundance, for example, you must believe that you are worthy of wealth and success. This belief can be nurtured through affirmations, self-love practices, and gratitude. When you feel good about yourself and your worthiness, you begin to radiate an energy that attracts abundance. Additionally, manifestation requires inspired action. It's not enough to simply visualize your desires and wait for them to magically appear. you must take action that is in alignment with your goals. This might mean starting a new project, learning new skills, or making connections with people who can help you on your journey. The key is to stay open to opportunities and trust that the universe will guide you toward the right path. As you manifest abundance, remember that it's not just about the end result. It's about the process of becoming. The more you cultivate a mindset of abundance, the more you'll attract opportunities that resonate with your true self. This journey of manifestation will not only lead to the achievement of your goals, but will also deepen your connection with yourself, bringing you closer to the life you were meant to live. Creating abundance from within is not about acquiring more things or chasing external success. It's about shifting your mindset, embracing the belief that life is full of infinite possibilities, and aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the energy of abundance. By breaking free from scarcity and lack mentality, practicing generosity, and manifesting your desires with clarity and confidence, you will begin to attract abundance in all areas of your life. Remember, abundance is not something you seek outside of yourself. It is something you cultivate within. And as you continue to nurture this abundant mindset, you'll find that the universe begins to reflect back the abundance you've already created inside. Chapter 14. Living the Shift. The journey beyond the ongoing process of transformation. Transformation is not a one-time event, but rather an ongoing process that evolves with time. Many people view change as a sudden, dramatic shift, a moment where everything falls into place and life aligns perfectly with their desires. However, true transformation often unfolds slowly over time, through consistent effort, self-reflection, and a willingness to embrace both challenges and successes along the way. As you continue your journey toward living the life you were meant to live, it's important to realize that transformation is not about achieving perfection or reaching an end goal. It's about ongoing growth and becoming more of who you are meant to be. When you embrace transformation as a lifelong journey, you free yourself from the pressure of needing to have everything figured out. Rather than expecting instant results, you begin to appreciate the incremental changes that accumulate over time. You notice small victories, a shift in your mindset, a breakthrough in self-awareness, or a moment of alignment with your higher purpose. These subtle shifts are just as significant as the grand moments of transformation, and they lay the foundation for long-lasting, sustainable growth. Just as a plant grows steadily from a seed to full bloom, your own growth takes place in stages, each phase building upon the last. One of the key aspects of ongoing transformation is self-compassion. As you navigate your personal growth journey, you'll inevitably encounter obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. It's crucial to approach these moments with kindness toward yourself, recognizing that they are a natural part of the process. Instead of criticizing yourself for perceived failures, embrace them as opportunities for learning and growth. The more you practice self-compassion, the more resilient and confident you will become in your ability to navigate the ups and downs of life. Another essential aspect of continuous transformation is staying open to new experiences. Life is constantly changing, and in order to evolve, you must remain flexible and willing to adapt. Embrace new opportunities that come your way, even if they challenge you or take you out of your comfort zone. These experiences will push you to expand your limits and see the world from a different perspective, ultimately leading to further growth and understanding. Transformation isn't just about shedding old layers. It's about becoming more attuned to your true self and allowing yourself to evolve in alignment with your deepest desires and values. Living with intention and consciousness, beyond the shift. Living with intention and consciousness means being actively engaged in the present moment, making decisions that align with your values, and taking responsibility for the direction of your life. It's easy to fall into autopilot mode, going through the motions of daily life without truly considering whether your actions are in alignment with your highest purpose. However, when you live with intention, you bring conscious awareness to each decision, action, and interaction, ensuring that you are fully present and engaged in the process of creating your life. To live with intention, begin by identifying what truly matters to you. What are your deepest values and desires? What kind of life do you want to create? And what steps are you willing to take to make it a reality? This clarity will serve as a compass, guiding you toward choices and actions that support your vision for the future. It's important to regularly check in with yourself to ensure that you are living in alignment with your values. When you feel disconnected from your purpose or find yourself drifting off course, take a moment to pause and recalibrate. Living with intention means being mindful of how you spend your time, energy, and resources, and making sure that everything you do is contributing to the life you want to create. Conscious living also requires a commitment to self-awareness. It's about taking the time to reflect on your thoughts, emotions, and actions, and understanding how they influence your experiences. Self-awareness allows you to identify patterns in your behavior, beliefs, and reactions, giving you the opportunity to make conscious choices about how you respond to different situations. Instead of reacting out of habit or emotion, you can choose to respond in ways that reflect your highest values and intentions. This level of awareness enables you to break free from old patterns and create new, more empowering ways of thinking and living. One of the most powerful ways to live with intention and consciousness is through mindfulness practices. Whether it's meditation, mindful breathing, or simply taking a moment to observe your thoughts, mindfulness helps you stay grounded in the present moment and aware of the choices you're making. It cultivates a deep sense of presence, allowing you to fully engage in each experience without being distracted by worries about the future or regrets about the past. As you practice mindfulness, you develop the ability to respond thoughtfully to life's challenges rather than reacting impulsively. This shift in awareness empowers you to take control of your life and shape your reality with greater clarity and purpose. The journey beyond, continuously growing and evolving. The journey of personal growth doesn't end once you've made significant shifts in your life. In fact, this is just the beginning. Once you've experienced a profound transformation, you'll likely find that new challenges and opportunities for growth continue to emerge. This is not something to fear, but rather something to embrace. Growth is an ongoing process, and as you continue on your path, you will evolve in ways you never imagined. The key to continued growth is to remain curious and open to new experiences. Just as you did in the earlier stages of your journey, continue to explore new ways of thinking, being, and doing. Seek out opportunities for learning, whether through formal education, personal development workshops, or simply by engaging in new activities that challenge your comfort zone. The more you expand your knowledge and experiences, the more you grow as a person. Another important aspect of ongoing growth is fostering a sense of community. Surround yourself with people who inspire and support you on your journey. Building relationships with like-minded individuals who share your values and vision for life can provide you with the encouragement and accountability needed to continue evolving. These relationships can also serve as a source of inspiration as you learn from the experiences and perspectives of others. It's also important to remember that growth is not always linear. There will be times when you encounter setbacks, feel discouraged, or question your progress. This is completely normal and part of the process. During these moments, remind yourself of how far you've come and trust that every experience, whether positive or negative, is helping you evolve into the person you're meant to be. Growth often occurs in cycles, with periods of expansion, followed by moments of introspection and integration. Embrace these cycles and trust that, with each phase, you are becoming more aligned with your true self. In addition to continuing your personal growth, it's important to share your knowledge and experiences with others. As you evolve, you have the opportunity to inspire and uplift those around you. Share your story, offer support, and encourage others to embark on their own journeys of transformation. The more you contribute to the growth of others, the more you contribute to your own evolution. Living the shift is about embracing the journey of transformation as an ongoing, dynamic process. It's about remaining open to change, living with intention, and continuously growing in alignment with your deepest desires and values. By approaching life with conscious awareness and a commitment to personal growth, you create a life that is fulfilling, purpose-driven, and aligned with your highest potential. The journey is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Continue to evolve, stay true to your vision, and embrace the beauty of becoming the person you were always meant to be. Your transformation is an ongoing process, and the best is yet to come. Chapter 15. Embracing the New You. A life of purpose and fulfillment, reflecting on your journey. As you reach the end of this book, it's important to take a moment to reflect on the journey you've undertaken so far. You've explored the depths of your inner world, confronted limiting beliefs, healed emotional wounds, and awakened to a life that is more aligned with who you truly are. This transformation was not an easy feat, but you've done the work and you are already starting to see the results. However, transformation is not a single event, nor is it a destination. It is an ongoing process. The real work begins now as you carry the lessons you've learned into the next phase of your life. Reflecting on how far you've come is vital. Take a step back and consider the shifts you've already experienced. Look at the growth in your mindset, the transformation in your daily habits, and the way you now view yourself and your life. You may have encountered moments of doubt along the way, but you persisted, and now you are emerging as someone who is more aligned with your purpose and more aware of your own inner strength. This is a monumental achievement, and it's worth celebrating. However, don't be fooled into thinking that reflection is only about looking back. It's also about looking forward with clear eyes and an open heart. You've gained insights into your true self and your desires. Now, as you move forward, you have the tools and awareness necessary to continue your growth. Reflect on what excites you about the future. What new goals and aspirations have emerged in your heart? What dreams have you not yet allowed yourself to pursue? This is your moment to dream anew, with the full knowledge that you are capable of achieving what you once thought was impossible. As you reflect on this journey, recognize that the person you are today is the result of all of your experiences, including the challenges, struggles, and triumphs. Embrace every part of your story, because each step, each moment, has led you to this point of greater self-awareness and empowerment. Now, the choice is yours. You can continue living intentionally, maintaining the momentum of your growth, or you can let this moment fade into the past. Your continued journey depends on your commitment to keep evolving, to keep embracing the shift that has begun within you. Sustaining your growth. Daily practices for transformation. Transformation is not something that happens once and then stops. It's something that needs to be nurtured, reinforced, and sustained every day. The key to making lasting change is to weave the lessons of this book into your daily life. You've learned how to break free from old patterns, how to embrace your vulnerability, and how to connect with your inner power. Now, the task is to keep those shifts alive in everything you do. One of the most effective ways to sustain your transformation is through daily practices. These practices serve as a reminder of your commitment to living consciously and purposefully. They keep you connected to the inner shifts you've made and help you stay aligned with your values and desires. For example, consider starting your day with a moment of stillness, such as meditation or mindful breathing. This helps center you, allowing you to approach the day with a clear mind and a calm spirit. Affirmations are another powerful tool for maintaining your growth. The words you speak to yourself shape your reality, so make sure they reflect the new beliefs and mindset you're cultivating. Begin each day by affirming your worth, your purpose, and your ability to create the life you desire. I am enough. I am worthy of love, success, and happiness. I am capable of achieving my dreams. These affirmations will become more than just words. They will shape your mindset and empower you to take bold action. Additionally, journaling is an invaluable practice that will help you stay connected to your inner wisdom. Take time each day or week to write about your experiences, your feelings, and your insights. Journaling allows you to process your emotions, track your progress, and reflect on your goals. It's a tool for self-discovery, helping you uncover patterns, shifts, and areas that still need attention. As you write, you'll continue to deepen your connection to yourself and to the life you are creating. Another key practice for sustaining your growth is cultivating gratitude. Each day, take a moment to reflect on what you are grateful for, no matter how big or small. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, and it helps you maintain a positive, abundance-focused mindset. By practicing gratitude regularly, you train your mind to look for the blessings in your life, which will, in turn, attract more positivity and growth. Remember, growth isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. By committing to these daily practices, you ensure that your transformation remains alive and vibrant. The more you make them part of your routine, the more natural they will become, and the easier it will be to continue living in alignment with your highest self. Living a life of purpose and fulfillment. As you continue your journey, one of the most important aspects of living authentically is understanding that you were born with a unique purpose. Your life has meaning, and it is up to you to discover what that meaning is and to live it every day. The purpose you've uncovered is not a static goal, but a dynamic, evolving force that will continue to guide you throughout your life. Living a life of purpose means aligning your daily actions with the vision of who you are and who you want to become. It requires taking risks, stepping outside your comfort zone, and trusting that every decision you make can bring you closer to the life you desire. It also means being open to change and accepting that your purpose may evolve over time. What excites you now may be different from what excites you in the future, and that's okay. Purpose is not a one-time discovery, but a lifelong pursuit of becoming the fullest expression of yourself. One of the most fulfilling aspects of living a purposeful life is the sense of contribution. When you live with intention, you not only create a life that is meaningful to you, but also one that benefits others. As you continue to grow, seek opportunities to share your gifts, knowledge, and experiences with those around you. Your unique journey can inspire and uplift others, creating a ripple effect of transformation in the world. Living with purpose means living in service to others, whether it's through your work, your relationships, or your community. When you contribute to the greater good, you experience a deeper sense of fulfillment and connection. Ultimately, a life of purpose is a life of alignment. When you are in alignment with your values, your desires, and your true self, you naturally attract opportunities, people, and experiences that support your growth. Purpose is not something you force or chase. It is something you allow to unfold as you continue to evolve. Trust that the universe has a plan for you, and that, by living authentically, you will be guided toward the experiences that will bring you the most joy, fulfillment, and growth. The final thought: you are just getting started. As you reach the end of this book, remember that this is not the end of your journey. It's just the beginning. The tools, insights, and practices you've learned here are just the foundation. The real magic happens when you take what you've learned and integrate it into your daily life. Transformation is not a destination. It is an ongoing journey of self-discovery, growth, and evolution. So, as you step into this new chapter of your life, know that you are already on the path to becoming the person you were always meant to be. You have everything within you to create the life of your dreams. Trust the process, keep moving forward, and embrace the incredible potential that lies ahead. Your journey of transformation is never truly complete, because there is always more to learn, more to experience, and more to become. You have the power to shape your reality, and you are worthy of the life you desire. So, take a deep breath, look ahead, and step into your future with confidence and purpose. The best is yet to come.